Good morning, everyone. October 12th, 2020, Indigenous Peoples Day. Welcome to practice. This is Forrest Yoga. And preemptively, we are going to be using some form of a strap. I don't have a strap, so I'm using a pair of leggings to do some things like this with arms. Anything that could bolster the floor up to you as needed, like blocks or towels. And we're going to roll up a towel for some of our core work. So if you could get a bigger beach towel, and it's possible to do it without if you don't have one. So you can gather what you have, and as many of us have discovered, lots of ordinary objects work really well when you're at home. So you can begin by finding a way that you can sit as struggle-free as possible, perhaps sitting up on something. And if you like, you could close your eyes. You could also settle your gaze to one thing. And we'll revisit something we've been working with in this practice that I've been learning from one of my teachers, Jambo Trong, since the new year of 2020. Breathe for yourself. Just as if you were sitting with someone you really love and they were in your presence, and you breathe with them to help them feel seen, to help them feel what's true for them, to help them feel unconditional, positive regard. Doing that in a way that is turned to you. And work with an acronym as we sometimes do. So this first acronym, or this acronym that we'll work with as our theme is ARC. And the first practice of breathing for yourself is about healthy self-attachment. If you like, you could place your hands on your torso, perhaps one hand on heart, one hand on belly. And just again, as if you were with someone that you really have unconditional positive regard for, there's nothing they could do to make you turn away from them. Having that experience turning towards you. Sensing this truth that yoga and many other spiritual traditions offer is that if you are alive, you deserve to thrive. And then the R part of the theme is when we have healthy self-attachment, we become more and more masterful at self-regulation, being able to keep ourselves in our window of healing and learning in presence. And when that happens, our competency, our strengths, our gifts are able to emerge in the most organic way, almost effortlessly, because they're right there. And so we'll see how that looks as we apply it to our practice today. So we'll walk through some different focused breathing spots and we'll add in some vibrations. So the first spot is heart. So you could do one hand up chest over sternum, the other hand on top, or you could do one hand to back of heart. And so just spreading through the tissues of the hand so that you can really feel for that. Literally holding your heart. You could start with some really gentle vibration and either stay right there or play with the pitch. Let it grow in volume or stay very soft. Seeing where you can vibrate. Turning the vibration towards heart center, front and back of heart, sides of heart, the hridaya, the center seed of the heart. Sensing the way the heart is nestled in between the lungs towards the left. And then shifting, next hand position, again, stretching the pinky finger away from the thumb, sensing the bones in the wrist open up. You can either do same hand to same side or crossing the torso. Get a sense of the low ribs, the middle ribs, and begin to breathe in a way that helps you to stretch the rib cage open. And then begin to add in either staying with quiet vibration or adding in anything that helps you to lift and broaden the rib cage. Feeling into this whole solar plexus area that is such a piece of healthy self-regard. Breathing for yourself. Attaching to yourself, you containing you. Knowing there's no way to do it wrong. If challenging feelings come up, if blankness comes up, just staying with however you can work this, what part of this makes sense to you today. Sensing where is my rib cage in the environment. And then the interoception, what is my inner body experiencing in space? What is the degree of safety available to me? And again, not making anything wrong if you don't feel safe, very understandable. And then from there, bringing the hands, either resting the hands to the belly or bringing awareness to the belly, space below navel point, above pubic bone, and just sensing any core tension that you can soften around. And sending vibration in and down, sensing where you can make contact. And then sensing all of the architecture of the torso and how that connects to the neck and the head to bring you into the central channel, this place of organizing into the midline, crown to base of pelvis, feeling the muscles of the torso hugging you so you can recognize how you are hugging you all of the time. And we'll come into a seated side bend. Reaching out through the left leg, spreading through the toes, and then bringing the palms out, palms face up, shoulder blades down the back, reaching up, and then coming into your side bend, planting the hand. And just feeling how you can take in these friends of these very familiar poses we work with. Just say, how is my lateral sheath of those hugging muscles today? How can I connect the energy lines of my limbs to my torso? And then we'll do some shoulder flossing here. So you can stay in your side bend, do a little grab onto the ground, and then flatten, sort of cat paw the ground, and then move the shoulder down. And then reaching the arm over and down, you can hover the hand, or then bring it palm behind the back. And then keep going at your own pace. So the external rotation as the arm goes up, and then the internal rotation, reaching the thumb away from the pinky finger, finding the most struggle-free place for your gaze. And then from there, keeping the hand either hovering or hand behind the back. Broaden across the collarbones, and then just taking some gentle movement here. You can either find a stillness if that feels better for you. Otherwise, just playing with letting the breath lead and the physical body follow, moving out any residual blockages that keep your brain from communicating in an integrated way with your heart and your gut. Noticing your eyes, blinking your eyes, softening eye muscles. And then find a place to pause, so either coming into ear to shoulder or looking down. See where your neck most needs that. Exhaling through the mouth, relaxing the jaw and the low belly. Spreading through the toes. And then from there, covering your ear, cradling your head, put your head back up. Let's take that to the other side. Straightening out through the leg, you can sort of traction the thigh bone away from the hip. Taking in any piece of this that feels familiar, friendly, good, and feeding that so that you're resourcing yourself with these movements. Grab onto the ground and then sort of cat paw out, opening the tissues in the hand. Flip the palm towards the ceiling. As you reach the arm up, feel what's going on in the opposite shoulder. And then using these movements, perhaps, to unwind your nervous system. Seeing if that's available, a gentle movement linked with breath to unravel buildup in the shoulder, in the nervous system. And then when you're ready, pause, hovering the hand, perhaps placing it on a block or putting it behind the back. You could reach for that thigh if that's accessible, not necessary. Stretch across the chest and then begin to play with some gentle movement, getting into that area of what we've been calling wind pond, right at the base of the occiput, suboccipital muscles, breathing into the brainstem. And then finding stillness, either ear to shoulder or looking down Tucking chin back, spreading through the toes, building your foundation. Exhaling through the mouth, finding the link between palate and pelvis. And then from there, please come on down to your back. And again, take all the time you need to set up something that is supportive. Sometimes if you have some forward head carriage going on, putting a support underneath the head can feel good. If you have some tightness in the low back, sometimes some padding at the sacrum. So give yourself support. And then have a rolled up blanket or towel, something like that nearby. Bring the feet underneath the knees and making any adjustments. Sometimes feet forward or wider might give you more release in the hips. And then take some time here to coach the front ribs to soften. Using the floor to access, breathing into the back body. And then from there, grab your roll. Let's do some dipping frogs. So visiting some of our familiar movements that we did last week. Knees over hips, grab onto your prop. Internally rotate the thigh bone, sort of like you're trying to send your prop forward to the space in front of you. And then soften your ribs. Front ribs move towards back ribs move towards the ground. Inhale across the back bottom ribs. Squeeze your prop and then tap the heels down, smoothing it out as much as you can. Come right back up. And then keep going at your own pace. Inhale, back ribs down, side ribs broad. Exhale, squeeze. Internally rotate. Come right back up. Low belly pulls in, especially as you come back up. Inhaling. Do about 3 more at your own pace. Spreading your awareness of the sacrum, this triangular bone at the base of the spine. Give your head over to the ground as much as you can. And then from there, place your prop to the side. And then let the energy move. See what can that do for you in terms of regulating, in terms of allowing your energy to take up more space within the midline. Let's come into some supported cat and cow. So bend the elbows like you're holding something in front of your torso. As you inhale, press the elbows down so the back ribs can lift on this point. The chest lifts towards the ceiling. Perhaps you even look up a bit. And then on exhale, rock the low back and the low ribs onto the mat. Engage the low belly. Keep going at your own pace. Elbows pressed down, chest up. Lengthen ribs away from pelvis. Exhale. Rock the top rim of the sacrum and the low back ribs onto the floor. There still might be a lumbar curve, that's fine. Low belly pulls in, and then keep going at your own pace. See what information you can get about where your spine is sticky, where it's open, where it might be numb. And then take a feeling breath. Breathing for yourself, regulating yourself, allowing grace to help your unique gifts shine out. And from here, we're going to come into tadpole. So that's a combination of frog and straddle. So you can just take any moves here that help you wake up the legs, knees over hips. So if you're new, you can watch the first round. If you know it, you could do it with me.
Interlace the hands behind the head, reach the elbows to the ceiling. And getting a sense of really like someone was giving you a hand here and you're trying to press the elbow to the hand, so you're unlocking the shoulder a bit. From here, rest the head into the hands, inhale across the back bottom ribs, curl the tailbone so the knees reach straight up to the ceiling, and then on exhale, both knees come out like frogs, so knees aligned to hip, front hip point, and then one leg is going to straighten. Bring the torso down a couple inches, come back to your frog. Inhale across back bottom ribs. Exhale, curl pubic bone, elbows reach up, straighten out through whichever leg you didn't do yet. Move the thigh bone away from the hip, low belly pulls in. Feel the inner leg and the outer leg reaching strongly. Come down a few inches with the upper torso, head and chest relaxed as much as possible. Inhale across back ribs. Exhale, curl pubic bone, straighten out through the left leg. Again, feel the inner leg and the outer leg. You could play with pointing and flexing. Low belly pulls in. Inhale through frog. Exhale, curl pubic bone. Right leg straightens, elbows reach up. Low belly pulls in. Inhale, bend both knees. Exhale, curl pubic bone, elbows reach up. Straighten out through the left leg. Low belly pulls in. Inhale through frog. Exhale, curl pubic bone, elbows reach up, straighten out through the right leg. Low belly pulls in. See one more round. Inhale through center, frog. Exhale, curl pubic bone, elbows reach up, straighten out through the left leg. Low belly pulls in. Inhale through center. Exhale, curl pubic bone, elbows reach up, straighten out through the right leg. Low belly pulls in. Head and chest come down gently, and then help your legs back together. Take a feeling couple of breaths. And then from here, let's do bridge with a roll. So if your roll works for you to also have the feet at hips width distance, you can use it. Otherwise, you can do the same thing, just without the prop. Get the outer edges of the feet parallel to the long edge of the mat. You can scoot the feet forward if the hip flexors feel bunchy. Inhale across back bottom ribs. Exhale, light squeeze on the prop or reaching through the inner leg line. Let the hips lift just a little bit so that you can grow this in increments. Inhale, broaden across the rib cage. Exhale, lift the hips just a little bit more. Send the thigh bones forward. Massaging your kidney area open as you lower. Inhale. Exhale, just a little bit higher. And then keep growing till you start to feel an opening across the front of the pelvis. You can press into the heels and traction the heels towards the head to wake up the posterior chain a bit. That does not feel good in your joints, please don't do it. Take some research to see some of these cues work for some and not others. So go gently. And then stay in your bridge. You could revisit that, elbows pressed down to lift the chest. And then see how you can get a sense of this place of healthy self-attachment. What is your relationship to sensing how you are hugging you with your torso muscles as you wake up all these different places? Relaxing internally first so you can stretch the ribs open. See if you can get the lowest side ribs to respond. And then we'll come into a practice called Uddiyana, so you can relax internally first. Fill all the way up with breath. Pause at the top, and then exhale everything out. Stay empty. Pull the belly back. Slowly lower down. Relaxing abdominals, and then take a feeling breath into the tube of the torso. Keep your neck relaxed. Roll onto one side. Come up to tabletop. Have your props nearby. And then from here, we're going to work with the neck a bit, connecting the neck to the rest of this tube of the torso. Take a big breath in, and then exhale. Simply sit bones moving towards calves as you take the left ear to left shoulder. Keep going at your own pace. Right ear to right shoulder. Pressing the ground away with hands and feet. And then from here, grab your roll. Again, with or without the roll, just gives you another anchor to work with. Grab onto that thing. Puff up your kidneys so you can breathe into the place that was connected to the ground. And then we'll come into some lateral flexion. Take a look towards your left foot. Come back through center. And then you could sit back a little bit. I'm noticing I find that useful. Or you could just do lateral flexion. So you're making these side to side bends with the spine. And then come to center, either close eyes or set eyes to one spot and begin to let the breath lead and the physical body follow, letting the joints be nourished with these movements, letting the tissues unravel, tension. Taking any exhales that help you to do that. Next pose is child's pose, and we'll add in some activation moves. So knees wide, big toes towards each other. Some folks like to put a bolster or something behind the knees. We're going to be moving a bit, so I'm not going to use my block like I like to do. So first, starting with palms very actively pressing down, and then come to tweeze the fingertips towards each other. Notice how there's a hollowing out of the armpit when you do that. And then you can sort of cat paw it out. Walk the hands over to one side. Strongly sit the hips down and back as you press down and forward. Draw the front ribs in towards the back ribs. And then place your mind into the right ribs. Move your right ribs to the right. Press down and forward with the right hand. Press the ground away. Pull the ground towards you with your left hand. So it's like you're steering your spine into a curve. And then switch. Pull the right hand towards you. Press the left hand away. Feel how that, I feel like I'm like teasing out tension in my tissue. Feeling into the structure and the content. And then you can either cat paw or fingertip walk the hands back through the other side. And again, strong seat down and back, so you're getting into flexion in the hips. Press down and forward with the left hand. Pull towards you with the right. Knit the front ribs in and back. Check out your neck. And then switch. Press down and forward with the right hand. Pull with the left. That shows up really nicely in my chest muscles, gets into tightness in the chest. And then from there, take it side to side and improvise a bit. Sometimes pressing one hand on top of the other can be really nice in that. Keep using exhales through the mouth if you feel built up tension. Increase the inhale if you want to keep building your reserves of energy. See if that is actually what that does for you. All of these are just suggestions. You are the expert. And then from there, come back through center, flipping the palms a bit. As you do that, stretch across the hands and then sense a broadening across the collarbones. Perhaps an awareness of the chest muscles. And then from here, please come back to tabletop. Let's come into dolphin. So options, elbows come down, measure around the middle part of upper arms. The most supportive variation is clasping the hands, pressing into a tripod. The next variation is forearms parallel, rooting inner hands. See what feels better. They work the shoulders a bit differently. They're both really useful in different ways. Shoulders away from ears. Lift the part of your spine between shoulder blades. Let the head hang. Maybe you keep knees down. Otherwise, curl toes under, using low abs to, like you're gonna sit on the ceiling, hiking with the lowest abs, straightening the legs. This may be your spot. Grounding into the right foot to lift the left leg, option. Using the power of the glutes to take the weight away from shoulders. Pressing the ground away with every body part that's connected to the ground. With every exhale, letting the head go, looking towards the navel. Feeling how you're engaging the whole core in this pose. Switching legs if you haven't with your dolphin, if you're doing one leg up. Keep breathing. Gently place knees down, sitting back into embryo. So you could use your block under your head, bring the arms resting alongside torso. And then coming back through tabletop. Let's come into downward facing dog. So from tabletop, hands come forward, shoulders move away from the ears, spin the bicep and the eye of the elbow forward. And then you can curl the toes under. Maybe you just begin to play with lifting the knees. And then from there, walk the feet to the hands, maybe the hands a bit to the feet. Come into Uttanasana, forward bend. Bend the knees as much as you like. That helps you let go. This is where bolstering yourself uniquely is super important. Hands on blocks, great option. Neck tension, give your neck a squeeze. Take any movements that feel useful. Looking towards your navel, letting the weight of your head, 10 or so pounds, stretch your neck muscles and cervical spine bones. And then from there, take your hands, make this L shape, press into the head of the thigh bones, engage the low abs. Please come up with a flat back for today's purposes. And then just sensing yourself in this vertical shape for the first time in our practice. And getting feet, hips width distance, feet active, front hip point and back hip point. See where you can find them even. So purposefully rocking a bit till you find out what feels the most supportive. And then from there, bring the front hip points back over the ankles, hinging forward a bit, lengthen the torso, and then as if you were holding a big ball, broaden across the upper back, play with it a little bit. Inhale. Exhale, reach the sit bones towards the calves. The pubic bone's gonna lift. It's another way of saying tuck tailbone is what's often said in yoga. Lift ribs, bring the hands to touch. Let's do some sun salutations, sweeping up. Lift ribs and then consider opening shoulders and hips. Soft knees, so you're protecting the lumbar spine, using the hip hinge instead, head heavy. Inhale, left leg steps back. Untuck the toes. If you need more padding, pad your knee. Press the ground and see where are my hip flexors willing to go right here. Sweep up. And then from there, bring the arms down, step back into plank. Knees up or knees down, pressing the ground away, lengthening the core, using low abs to lighten it up, using this press of the feet. Elbows brush into side ribs. Lift each leg, reach your legs back, use the posterior chain, feel the quads, hands on your shoulders. Let length be the priority over how high you come up. Heart reaches forward. Hands on your shoulders, shoulders down the back. Press the ground away. Down dog. Left leg comes forward. So maybe you come straight up the mat, maybe you step out. Maybe it's a little bit of both. in between. Press the ground away. Pad the knee if you need extra padding. Sense into that right hip. Where is it willing to go? Square the hip points. Lift ribs. Frame the front foot. Step up. Engaging the lats. Let's come up with a flat back. So you can really study the hip hinge. Lift ribs. Open chest and shoulders. Hands come to touch. Let's keep going right into the next round. Open the front body. Forward bend. Right leg steps back. Sweeping up. Plank. And again, you decide knees up or knees down. Pressing the ground away, getting light. Reach back strongly. Peel the chest forward and up. Shoulders down the back as you transition into down dog. And then step. 1 step, 5 steps. Unconditional positive regard. Telescope ribs, lift ribs. Press into both feet, stretch the lungs. Frame the front foot. Come through one more round, sweeping up. Open chest and shoulders, hands come to heart, come right into it. See if you can get weight into your heels, soft knees, feel the hips. Left leg steps back. Plank. Let's add in a boat pose this time. Shalabhasana, lower down. Do your self-assist, roll the inner thighs to the ceiling. This time, hands can stay hovering or clasp at the back. Lift the legs, lift shoulders, lift chest. Keep the back of the neck long. Feel the whole back body working in integration. And release. Come into crocodile. Stack your hands. Take a moment. Relaxing the back after working contraction. Hands on your shoulders. Shoulder blades down the back. Press into your down dog. And left leg is coming forward, I believe. Press the ground away. Square the hip points. Wrapping shoulder blades. So pinky fingers spin in. Always feel free to come wider, to bend the elbows, get spacious. So this whole area, scalenes, pectoral muscles, open up. Step up as lightly as you can. Come on up. Lift your ribs. Hands come to heart center. Take a feeling breath. Organizing into the midline. Breathing for yourself. Chair pose. Either big toes together or feet at hips with distance, sitting back. I like to broaden across my back body and then come up, get weight into the heels. Again, find your arm position that helps you to open chest and shoulders. Straighten the legs and fold. Inhale into Ardha Uttanasana, flat back hands. Press to shins. You can use blocks here. Exhale, fold. Step back into plank. And again, knees up or knees down. Lower. Reach back. Let's go into some shoulder shrugs in both. Lift the legs, reach back. Hover the hands. And then inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Let's do 2 more rounds. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. And take a feeling breath in your crocodile. Hands under shoulders, shoulder blades down the back, pressing into down dog. From here, let's come into warrior one, grabbing a prop if you're going to use an arm bind. Let's bring left leg forward. You can either spin the back toes to the outer edge of the mat. If that's tweaking your knee or your hip, you can come up, right? So feet or hips with distance. Grab your prop. Let's do right arm up. Internally rotate, thumb down. Get a hold of your prop. Soften front ribs in and down. Kick through the back leg. And then wrap the right bicep towards the ear. Reach the elbow up. Soak the breath into the left shoulder. Move the shoulder and the shoulder blade down. A couple of options here. You can stay right here. If you have further to go, you could come into humble warrior, either bringing torso onto the thigh or inside the thigh. And while you're down there, you can look at that right inner leg. Are you working there? Reach through the legs so the upper body can let go. That left hip might want to wing out, tuck it back. And then just keep coming back to your arc. Attachment to yourself in a healthy way. Breathing for you. Regulating and allowing your grace to shine out. When you are ready, activate the feet. Use your abs to come on up. Let's come into some bird wings. So bringing the upper arm bones next to the ribs. Activate your feet. Square the hips as best as you can. They might be off square. It's not forcing. Inhale, lift the ribs. Exhale, elbows tweeze in. Shoulders and shoulder blades drag down. Maybe you look up a bit to nourish those tissues in the scalenes in the neck. And then let's do this a little improvisationally, just letting yourself feel into your pace, your number of repetitions, flossing the shoulders and nourishing the joints. And we'll take it into a twist. So a couple of options here. Bring the hands into the midline, really press. So you're finding that home base of the core. From here, coming forward, either taking the elbow outside the thigh, making a fist and blanketing it, or opening the arms. You could shift onto the ball of that back foot. Either way, lengthen on inhale, and then sense where is your spine in space. As you're exhaling that left hip, tuck it back. Bring the back of the head towards the upper right-hand corner of the mat. Keep the knee over the ankle. Zoom is very interesting when you're not used to mirrors. And then from there, unwind your twist. Let's step back into plank. And then lower all the way down. Lengthen back. And let's come into a version of locust where you're bringing tented fingertips. Keep the legs solidly reaching back. Lift chest. And then look under one arm. Roll one shoulder forward. Check out your feet. Are they grounded? And play with staying low, perhaps, alternating with coming up higher. See what helps you to get in there. And then take a feeling breath, crocodile. Sense the quads, the front of the pelvis, the belly connected to the ground. Hands under shoulders, press the ground away. Front line hugs towards the back line here. And then sensing how you use your core, step into warrior one. Feet at hips width distance, grab your prop if you're using a strap-like object. Feet at hips width distance, option to come onto the ball of the foot. And again, it's not a shoving of the hips forward. For most of us, it's going to be somewhat off center in terms of squaring forward. Left arm up, bring the thumb down on the right, get a hold of your strap. Stack the skull bones on top of the spine, track the right hip back, roll the left inner thigh back, and then wrap the left bicep towards the ear. Reach that elbow up. Breathe into the muscles underneath the right shoulder blade and then contract the shoulder and shoulder blade down the back. Sensing this tube of the torso, this place where you feel you, where you do your inner work, this sacred time on your mat. Option, stay upright or come into humble warrior four. Torso on the thigh or fold inside the thigh. Sensing how the inversion shifts what you're able to feel in the shoulders. Getting fascinated with how shifting your relationship to gravity gives you different access. Tracking the right hip back and under, using your legs so the upper body is nurtured, looking towards the navel point. From there, use your core, come on up, release the bind, and then we'll do some bird wing. Belt, hands face to the sky, hug the arms to the side ribs, soften front ribs down. It's a tricky thing. It's how can you lift the heart while keeping the core engaged? So play with that a bit. Inhale, lift ribs. Exhale, forearms come out, elbows tweeze in, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. And again, find your own way. Let your spirit guide this. See if you can notice any familiarity and nourishment. We've been doing these moves for a while. Hopefully they feel like these basic nutrients. That's my experience with these. Feel how it feels to be giving yourself something deeply nourishing. Let the arms relax down. Setting up for your twist. So again, come into this press, spread through the hands. So you're really waking up the torso. Coming forward, option, elbow outside the thigh or placing the hand down. And the other arm reaching up. Perhaps shifting onto the ball of the foot. Wherever you are, sensing how can you give yourself, again, this awareness of nourishing movement. So this comes from a teacher I've been closely studying with, Katie Bowman. If any of you know me, you know I'm crazy about her stuff. And this whole idea of not fixing, but finding what's good, nourishing what's good. Bring the back of the head towards the upper left-hand corner of the mat. Unwind your twist. Let's come through one final vinyasa here, plank. Come through cobra. If you want to do an up dog, go for it. So you can get into that awesome opening in the front of the pelvis. Take all the time you need to shift into your down dog. Press the ground away with the inner hands. We're going to come into a warrior two vignette. So please step let's do right foot forward. So I can be facing the camera. We're going to take it right to the other side. So warrior two. Finding your degree, you're working towards a 90-degree angle over time. Find out what is the juicy but safe place for you. So you're cooking into the quads and the adductors without injuring the knee. Knees tracking right over the ankle. And then from there, reaching out through both arms. Sometimes the ribs want to go towards that front knees. Get your ribs right over pelvis. Flip the palms, so you're getting the shoulder blades down. Keep that and just flip the palms back down. Stay in lunge. Kick through the back leg. Use the posterior chain. Use the front line. Use everything you've got. Flip the palm. Reach into your reverse warrior. Stay in the lunge for a couple breaths here. Front ribs softening down. Perhaps using your hand in a nurturing way here. And then from there, come back through warrior two, extended warriors, forearm on the thigh, shoulder down, shoulder blade down. Reach the arm up over the ear, wrap shoulder blade, pinky finger spins in. Kick the ground away to light up that lateral sheath. Come back to our work of healthy self-attachment, breathing for yourself in every pose, regulating yourself in every pose, letting your grace and gifts shine out. From there, come on up. Let's do reverse warrior. Reverse triangle. Straighten through that front leg. Feel the space after cooking the hip joint a bit and then opening into a straight leg. Feel for the energy, and you can direct where that medicine goes, right? Keep all of the length that you're getting in your reverse trikonasana. Next pose is half moon. So hop that back foot in a bit or step it. Set up your block roughly 12 inches on a diagonal from the right baby toe. I like to get that right edge of the foot parallel to the long edge of the mat. Engage, lift the kneecaps, engage the quads. Maybe you're playing right here, just getting that sense of the hip. Begin to stack the left hip on top. Curl pubic bone, so there's our core work from the beginning of class. Maybe you hold the hip, maybe you reach the arm up. Either way, play with it, make it your own. Maybe you keep looking down, maybe you begin to play with looking forward and up. Feel all of the options, all of the sets of actions that you're working here, using the inner leg to lift the left leg away from the ground. Using low abs instead of your neck, Karuna. Lengthen the leg away from the hip as you come on down. And then give yourself a moment. Taking in that nourishment, come up to upward facing wide stance, and we'll take that to the other side. Pivot, left foot. Set up front heel to back arch. If it's workable, pick up that right heel and spin it out so you're internally rotating the thigh. Kick through that leg, that's your anchor. So coming into Virabhadrasana, these warrior-like movements here. Knee over ankle. Use the inner leg, use the outer leg. Reach equally. Flip the palms up, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. And then keep the shoulders and shoulder blades down, just flip the palms. For our purposes today, gazing straight ahead. Feel the whole back body, back of the head, both shoulders, back ribs. Stay in the lunge. Lift the ribs, reaching over, wrapping the shoulder blade. You can hold onto the hip or have the hand above or below the knee. And then set up your arc. Breathe for yourself. Sensing the work of self-regulation. Noticing your attainment on this skill. Noticing you can. And noticing how when you do that, you, the true self, comes through. Come on up, extended warrior, reach. Forearm on the thigh, move shoulder and shoulder blade down. And then you can either swim the arm up like so, or reach the arm up. See how it feels a bit different. See your preference, and then wrap the shoulder blade. Open the chest, roll the ribs towards the ceiling. Kick through that back leg. So that's your pair of actions. Your root helps you to rise. Soften internally first with that self-care and regard so you can get the most productive, nourishing breath. Bring the torso up, reverse your warrior. Straighten the leg. Reverse Trikonasana. Feel what happens in the hip in that transition. And positively stress the tissues and then feel this heat and warm, viscous energy. Direct that where you need it. What is your access to that third chakra, Manipura chakra, self-esteem, healthy self-attachment? Half moon. Hop the back foot in a bit, set up your block. Many of you know you can work this against a wall, Really nice way to get information about where your body is in space. So I'm going to align my outer foot to the long edge of the mat. I'm going to engage my quads and lift my kneecap and begin to play. How do I create stability? How do I keep my neck and gaze soft? How do I see where my hip is willing to go without shoving, and honoring the organic rate of release? Maybe reach up. Use the inner leg to play. Both inner legs. Take a couple more breaths here. And then lengthen the thigh away from the hip as you come back down. Come on up. Uptake. Feed yourself. And then give yourself a moment here in Tadasana, maybe a bit of a wider stance. And let's do some gentle joint nourishment here. So I'm rolling my thighs in, outer edges of the feet parallel, like you're throwing away whatever needs to be dusted off here. Let your weight sink into your feet. Sensing your inner resource. What part of you feels basically good? Can you access that? Not accessible, no problem. Keep breathing and feeling your breath that is accessible to you, letting that sense of who you really are as basically good travel. As a way to embody this theme of working with healthy attachment, leading to self-regulation skills, leading to awakening and sharing of our Dharma, what we are meant to do in this world. Take yourself onto your back. We'll finish with knees to chest. Option to change it into happy baby or anything else you like. Just getting a sense of you hugging you, you containing you, you doing your inner work. You're part of the world's pain that you hold, doing your work to reduce harm by healing yourself. When you're ready, shifting into this very advanced pose called letting go. Breathing in a way that expresses that threshold that we walk through at this point in the practice. Whatever you've done is enough. Letting yourself be held. Letting yourself rest in love.
Begin to breathe in a way that you're feeling the sensation of the inhale. And then allow that to help you recognize that you can choose the quality that you touch yourself with the breath as you inhale. Just as you would touch someone you care about in a respectful, attuned way. Giving that to yourself, along with any other qualities that you need right now. And if there is an organic affirmation that arises, allow that to rise up. You are loved. You belong. Are two that have been coming to me. And see if there then is a way that, in an effortless sort of way, that what is basically good about you can take up more space. And if you like, you could bring the hands to touch, to bow to each other, doing this work in yoga ceremony today. Thank you for sharing your practice. See you soon.